My name is Lena, and this is the story of how love taught me the meaning of truth. I met Daniel at work. He was charming, funny, and always kind. Every morning he brought me coffee and said, "One sugar, no milk, right?" He remembered the smallest things. I liked that about him. Soon we started having lunch together, then dinners, then long walks after work. He said I made him calm. I said he made me laugh. When he asked me to marry him, I said yes without thinking twice. Our wedding was simple, but full of love. My mother cried when she saw us at the altar. Daniel promised, "I will take care of you forever." At first, he kept his promise. We lived in a small apartment with plants on the balcony. He played guitar, I cooked dinner, and we laughed about everything. But slowly, little shadows began to appear. He would get phone calls late at night and step outside to answer them. When I asked who it was, he said, "Just office work, love." I wanted to believe him. I really did. One evening, I found a restaurant bill in his pocket. 2 meals, 2 drinks, 1 bottle of wine. The date was last Friday. That was the night he said he worked late. When I showed him the bill, he didn't even blink. "Oh, that? It was a client dinner," he said quickly. Then he kissed my forehead and smiled. "You worry too much." His confidence made me doubt myself. Maybe I was overthinking. But after that day, something changed inside me. I started noticing things I used to ignore. Perfume on his shirt that wasn't mine, messages he quickly deleted, days when he came home unusually quiet. Once, when he forgot his phone on the table, I saw a message from someone named Nora. It said, "Miss you already." My heart sank, but I said nothing. I just watched, waited, and hoped I was wrong. One afternoon, I decided to surprise Daniel at his office with lunch. I packed his favorite, pasta and garlic bread, and went to his building. The security guard looked confused. "Mr. Daniel? He didn't come today, ma'am." I laughed nervously. "Are you sure?" "Yes," he said. "He's on leave." My hands started shaking. I went to a nearby café, sat by the window, and called him. "Hey, love," he answered cheerfully. "Busy day. Can I call you later?" "Where are you?" I asked. "At the office," he said easily. At that very moment, I looked out the cafe window, and there he was, walking across the street with another woman. They held hands, they laughed, then they walked into a jewelry shop. I didn't cry. I just sat there, frozen, with the untouched lunch in my hands. That evening, he came home with flowers. "For you," he said, smiling. "You look tired." I smiled back. But something inside me was already gone. The next morning, when he left for work, I followed him. He didn't go to the office. He took a bus to another part of the city, to a small yellow house with a blue gate. He knocked, and the same woman from the cafe opened the door. She smiled, kissed him, and they went inside. I stood there for a few minutes, shaking. Then I walked to the door and knocked. A few seconds later, the woman opened it again. "Yes," she said politely. "Is Daniel here?" I asked calmly. "Yes, he's inside." "Who are you?" "I'm his wife," I said. Her face turned white. "His what?" We sat down together, both in shock. She said her name was Nora, and that she had been dating Daniel for almost 2 years. He had told her that his wife had left him long ago. "He said you divorced him," she whispered, tears forming in her eyes. I smiled sadly. "No, I was still cooking his dinner last night." We both cried. Then I said,
You don't need to be sorry. He fooled both of us. When Daniel came home that night, I was waiting. He froze when he saw my face. Lena, I can explain, he started. No, I said quietly. You can only tell the truth. He sat down, covered his face, and whispered, I didn't mean to hurt anyone. I just didn't want to lose either of you. I looked at him and said, You lost both.
That night, I packed my clothes and left. He begged me to stay. Lena, please, I'll change. I stopped at the door and said, You don't need to change for me. You need to change for yourself, if you ever want to live honestly. I went to my mother's house. She held me tight and said softly, Don't cry, my child. It's better to lose a liar than live with one. For many months, I couldn't sleep well. Every sound reminded me of him. But slowly, I began to heal. I found a new job, started reading again, and learned to smile without pretending. A year later, I received a letter. It was from Daniel. He wrote, Lena, I am sorry. I hurt you because I was weak. I lied because I didn't know how to be honest. I hope you found peace. You deserve it. I read it once and placed it in a drawer. I didn't hate him anymore. I didn't love him either. That night, I looked at my reflection and whispered, Sometimes losing a liar is the beginning of finding yourself. And that was true. Now, when people ask me if I believe in love, I say yes, but only if it's honest.